Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Survivor's Sanctuary series with Susan. This is episode 9, From Surviving to Becoming, the Alchemy of Post-Traumatic Growth. This space is where your healing is honored, your story is held with care, and you are never, ever alone. I'm really glad you're here. But before we begin, I want to acknowledge that some topics may feel tender, especially if you are experiencing any type of domestic violence, emotional abuse, manipulation, or unsafe in your relationship. You are not responsible for another person's harmful behavior, and your safety always comes first. I am a certified somatic trauma-informed coach, accredited trauma-informed domestic violence and coercive control practitioner, and narcissistic abuse specialist. I am not a licensed mental health professional. So just know that this podcast is for education and support only. Please trust your body and take only what feels supportive for you. Whether you're listening while driving or walking or making tea or just lying down because maybe that's all you can do today, I want you to know that every single moment you spend tending to yourself is an act of profound courage. Today we're doing something a little different. We've spent the last 8 episodes building, understanding emotional abuse, befriending your body, learning about the vagus nerve, recognizing fawning and trauma bonds, setting boundaries, releasing shame, and rebuilding self-trust. You have been doing the deep work. And today I want to talk about what can happen on the other side of all of that. Not toxic positivity, not everything happens for a reason, but something far more sacred. The possibility that your wound becomes your wisdom. Today's episode is about post-traumatic growth, and I want to hold it tenderly because I know that for some of you, hearing the word growth might feel like pressure, like you should be further along than you are. So let me say this clearly before we begin. Post-traumatic growth is not a requirement. It is not a measure of how well you healed. It is a possibility, one that opens slowly and quietly when safety has been restored. Now, if you're still in the early stages, this episode is a lantern, not a timeline. It will be here waiting for you always. Post-traumatic growth, or let's refer to it as PTG, is a term coined by psychologist Richard Tedeschi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, and also Lawrence Calhoun, and it was in the 1990s. It describes the profound positive psychological transformation that can emerge from the struggle with highly challenging life circumstances. Notice what that says. From the struggle with. Not because of the trauma itself, but through the active, often painful process of surviving it, questioning it, and eventually integrating it. PTG is not the absence of pain. People who experience post-traumatic growth often still carry grief. They still have hard days, still feel reverberations of what happened, but something has shifted. A deepening, an opening, a reorganization of how they see themselves and others and the world. Now, research identifies 5 domains of post-traumatic growth, and I'm going to list those here. So 1 is personal strength, a recognition of an inner resilience you didn't know you had. 2, new possibilities, openings to paths and purposes or identities that feel more authentic. 3, relating to others. A deeper capacity for empathy, intimacy, and connection. 4, appreciation for life. A heightened awareness of beauty and presence and gratitude. And 5, spiritual or existential change. A shift in worldview and values, or a sense of meaning. Now, for survivors of emotional abuse and complex trauma, PTG can look like finally knowing your worth. It can look like recognizing the moment you stopped minimizing your story. It can look like building something, a business, a garden, a community, a life that is entirely your own. You are not just a person who survived something. You are someone who was alchemized by it. So let's talk about how this lives in the body from a somatic perspective. As a somatic coach, I want to name something important. Growth is not just a cognitive shift. It lives in the body too. For a long time, your nervous system was organized around threat, around scanning for danger, managing someone else's moods, disappearing yourself to stay safe. Your body learned to be small, to be quiet and vigilant. Post-traumatic growth has a somatic signature. As healing progresses, you may begin to notice a new ease in your breath. Perhaps it's fuller or slower or even less constricted. A sense of inhabiting your body more fully as you come home to yourself. The return of pleasure in food, in movement, in touch, in creativity. Moments when your chest lifts rather than collapses, when your spine feels like it belongs to you. An impulse to take up space physically, creatively, and socially. Your body is a record of everything that has happened to you, but it is also a record of every moment of healing, every breath you've taken since you began this journey, every time you named a boundary, and every time you chose yourself. Growth isn't just a thought you have. It's something your nervous system learns to live. Now let's look at this from an internal family's perspective. In internal family systems, we understand that we are not one single fixed self. We are a rich inner world of parts. We often think of this as your inner child, but it's also like a lot of different inner parts that were created for you personally. And each has their own history, their own fears, and their own wisdom. When you were in survival mode, certain parts stepped up to protect you. The fawn part who appeased, the manager who controlled everything to prevent disaster, and the firefighter who numbed your pain. These parts were not problems. They were heroes, doing their best with what they had. But as healing happens, something extraordinary begins to occur. Those protective parts start to relax. They sense that there is now a self, your calm, curious, compassionate core, who can lead, and they don't have to carry everything anymore. And when the protectors soften, something else emerges. What IFS calls the exile, the young, wounded parts who have been hidden deep away, carrying the original pain. And alongside them, often for the first time, a part who dares to dream. So here's a little reflection to sit with. Can you sense a part of you that is beginning to want more? Not more validation, not more proof that you survived, but more life, more joy, more expression. This is your growth self-emerging, yourself. In IFS terms, that would mean you're feeling curious, creative, compassionate, calm, connected, courageous, clear, and present. You might also notice parts that are afraid of growth, parts that say, what if it's taken away again? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't deserve it? These parts are not obstacles. They are wise gatekeepers, and they're just asking for reassurance. Work with them. Tell them, I'm not leaving you behind. We're growing together, and we're going to do this together. Now let's do a somatic safe practice which I'll call the expansion breath. It is a somatic invitation to let your body rehearse what growth feels like, gently, safely, and at your own pace. So find your space. Sit or stand somewhere comfortable. I want you to feel the ground beneath your feet, and if you can be barefoot, that's even better. So feel the ground beneath your feet or the support beneath your body. Allow your eyes to soften. They can be gently open or lightly closed, whatever feels safe. Now, step 1, let's ground. Take 3 slow breaths, feeling your feet heavy and rooted. Imagine roots growing down through the floor into the earth where you are being held and supported. And when you take these deep breaths, you're going to breathe in slowly through your nose, hold for 4, and then exhale even longer through your mouth. Now, step 2, acknowledge. Place both hands on your heart and silently acknowledge, I have survived. I have come so far, and I am here. Step 3, the expansion breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for the count of 4, letting your belly and your chest fully expand, wider and fuller than you might normally allow. Feel your ribs open like wings. And then you're going to hold at the top for the count of 2. And in that held space, you're going to notice there is room in here. There is space for something new. Then you're going to exhale slowly through your mouth for the count of 6. Softening, releasing, and settling. So let's do that. Inhale slowly through your nose for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Feeling your ribs expand. And as you exhale, very slowly through your mouth, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And notice after your final breath, just sit quietly for a moment. Notice what you feel in your body. Is there warmth anywhere? Maybe a lightness or a tingling or a small flicker of possibility. That sensation, however tiny it might be, is your body beginning to learn that expansion is safe. You don't need to hold your breath anymore. You can slowly inhale and slowly exhale. Now, if you're up for it, let's do some emotional freedom technique tapping. And if you're not, just sit back and listen. We're going to use EFT tapping today to gently clear the resistance that can arise around growth, particularly the fear that we don't deserve it or that it won't last. So if you're new to tapping, here's a quick reference. Gently tap on the meridian points. Typically, we are tapping on your collarbone. You can also tap under your eyes, under your nose, on the side of your hand, wherever feels comfortable for you. And I want you to repeat after me as you're tapping. And you want to tap hard enough that you're feeling it, but soft enough that you're not hurting yourself at the same time. So repeat these words after me. Even though part of me is afraid to grow, afraid to want more, afraid that it might be taken away, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though part of me is afraid to grow, afraid to want more, afraid that it might be taken away, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though part of me is afraid to grow, afraid to want more, afraid that it might be taken away, I deeply and completely love and forgive myself. Now continue tapping and repeat these words after me. What if I don't deserve to grow? What if I'm too broken? What if growth means leaving behind what I know? What if I get hurt again? All this fear around becoming more. All this old protection. These parts of me trying to keep me safe. I see you. I honor you. What if growth is simply what happens when I'm safe? What if I've already been growing all along? What if my scars are also my strength? What if I can hold both the pain and the possibility? I am allowed to become more than what happened to me. I am allowed to take up more space. I am allowed to want a beautiful life. I am becoming. I am already becoming. Now relax your hands and take in a deep breath in through your nose, holding 4, 3, 2, and let go through your mouth and release. And just notice any shift, any subtle one in your body and in your thinking. Notice that the energy is moving, that you are making room for more. Now, the energy of renewal is Reiki. We work with the universe life force energy, the intelligent, loving current that flows through and all around living things. Every intention, every moment of stillness is an opportunity for you to clear stagnation and invite new energy to flow. So in the context of post-traumatic growth, there are 2 energy centers, chakras, that hold particular significance. The solar plexus is your power center, and it's located just above the navel. The solar plexus governs your sense of self, your personal power, and your agency. Trauma often leaves this center depleted or blocked. You may feel powerless or controlled or unable to trust your own will. And as growth unfolds, this center begins to reignite. You may start to feel more capable, more purposeful, alive with the direction you're taking. The other chakra involved with post-traumatic growth is the heart chakra, which is the seat of transformation. The heart center is where pain and love coexist. It is here that grief becomes compassion and wound becomes wisdom. A heart that has known deep suffering and healed has an extraordinary capacity for love. Not a love that abandons the self, but a love that includes it. So let's have a Reiki intention for this week. As you sit with your hand over your heart and the other hand over your navel. Repeat after me. I open to the flow of new energy. I release what no longer serves my becoming. I welcome healing, growth, and expansion into every cell of my body. I am a vessel for life. Now, if you practice self-Reiki, just spend a few minutes with your hands over your solar plexus and your heart and rest and breathe and just allow that energy to do what it knows what to do and how to do. So tonight before sleep, maybe you can take some time to write down 3 things that were good today. They don't have to be big. Maybe a warm drink, a moment of quiet, a kind word you said to yourself. Research shows that doing this consistently helps rewire the brain toward noticing goodness, training the neural pathways of hope. Now, we've covered a great deal today, so let's wrap it up and bring it all together. Post-traumatic growth is not something you force. It is something you allow. As safety deepens and self-trust grows, your work is not to rush towards it, but to create the conditions in which it can unfold. By continuing to tend to your nervous system, to listen to your parts, to move your body with gentleness, and to practice the small daily acts of self-honoring that tell your system it is safe to bloom here. So this week's integration practice is set aside 15 to 20 minutes and make it a quiet, safe space. Maybe you want to light a candle if that feels good and have your journal nearby. And I'd like you to write a letter to yourself from the perspective of who you are becoming, not who you were, not even who you are right now, but the version of you that is already on the other side of this. Let that future self speak to you. What do they want you to know? What do they see when they look back at you right now? What wisdom do they carry? What does your life look like through their eyes? You don't have to know all the answers. Just let your pen lead and trust what comes. And when you're done, read it back to yourself slowly. Notice how your body responds. Notice if any part of you says, yes, this is real. This is possible. Because it is. Now to review a little astrology and numerology for the week ahead. We are currently in a universal year 1. And that is the beginning of an entirely new 9-year cycle. It carries the energy of initiation, fresh starts, identity, and the courage to step forward into uncharted territory. After the completion energy of last year, which asked us to release, to grieve, and to let go, the 1 year says, now you begin again, not as who you were, as who you are becoming. For survivors on a healing journey, a universal year 1 is profoundly significant. It is the year the universe itself is holding space for you for new beginnings. In this month, the month of March, it is a 4. By adding 3 for March and the 1 universal year, that's how we got a 4. And the 4 number is foundation, stability, structure, and safety. It is the energy of building something solid, something real, something that will last. After the groundlessness that trauma creates, the loss of self, of safety, of trust, the 4 month says, this is where you lay new ground. This is where the rebuilt version of you begins to take shape. The combination of a universal year 1 and a universal month 4 is a genuinely powerful pairing for post-traumatic growth. The 1 calls you into your new identity, and the 4 gives you the stable ground to stand on it while you build it. Now with astrology, we are currently in Mercury retrograde in Pisces, which began on February 26th and will run through March 20th. Mercury is the planet of communication, the mind, and how we process and express our inner world. In Pisces, the most intuitive, emotionally fluid sign of the zodiac, this retrograde asks us to turn inward, to quiet the mental noise, and to listen, to just listen to the deeper, non-linear wisdom within us. It is less about logic right now, and it's more about feeling, sensing, and knowing. For survivors, this Mercury retrograde is a beautiful cosmic companion for the work we're doing today. It supports revisiting your story, not to relive the pain, but to reframe it. Old memories or emotions may surface, and rather than pushing them away, This retrograde invites you to be curious. What is this trying to show me? What unfinished narrative is ready to be released? And something even more extraordinary, on or around March 7th, just the day before this episode airs, Mercury was cazimi, meaning it passed directly through the heart of the sun. In astrology, cazimi is a moment of profound illumination and clarity. Ideas and insights born around this time carry a special potency. So what has become clear to you recently? What truth has quietly surfaced? I want you to trust that, what you're receiving. That is Mercury in Pisces doing sacred work inside you. And woven through all of this is Chiron, the wounded healer of the zodiac. Chiron represents our deepest wound and ultimately our greatest gift. When Chiron sits in your natal chart is where you have known profound pain and where you hold the most extraordinary capacity to heal others. Post-traumatic growth is very much a Chiron story. The wound does not disappear, but it transforms into medicine. This week, consider looking up your Chiron placement if you know your birth chart, and allow Mercury retrograde in Pisces to be your guide. Not a disruption, but a sacred pause. And let the question be, what is the gift hidden inside my deepest wound? What is Mercury helping me finally see? You don't have to answer it yet. Just let it rest in you like a seed. Mercury retrograde in Pisces will water it gently. My dear friend, I want to remind you that you were not broken by what happened to you. You were cracked open, and light gets in through cracks. I want to share something personal with you, because I think it matters that you know who's walking beside you in this work. I met him when I was 14 years old, and for nearly 40 years, he was all I knew. He had an amazing heart, and he also had an intense rage that kept me walking on eggshells for most of my life. When I was 26, my body spoke what I couldn't yet say out loud. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at that young age. I did heal myself from that diagnosis about many years later, but I stayed. Because leaving someone you have loved since childhood, someone who is woven into the very fabric of who you are, that's not simple. That is what we call a trauma bond, and I understood it from the inside. For a long time, I was great, or at least I told myself I was. I was good at pretending, good at making excuses, good at keeping the peace and managing everyone else's world, while quietly disappearing from my own, until one day I wasn't great anymore, and I stopped pretending. When I finally left, I stepped into a world I didn't know how to exist in. Everything I had known since I was a teenager was behind me. I had no map, but I had something. I had something I hadn't known was there, an inner strength that had been quietly waiting for me to choose myself. And I did. That choice, terrifying and tender and completely mine, is what led me here to this work and to you. I don't guide you from a place of theory. I guide you from a place of having walked this road and found that it leads somewhere beautiful. What you have survived would have silenced many, but here you are, still listening, still learning, still reaching toward your own becoming. That's not weakness dressed up as strength. That is actual, radical, luminous strength. The ancient Japanese art of kintsugi, and I'm not sure I'm saying that right, repairs broken pottery with gold. The cracks are not hidden. Instead, they are highlighted and honored and made beautiful. The broken places become the most luminous part of the whole. So you, my friend, are kintsugi. Your cracks are filled with gold. Post-traumatic growth is not about pretending the break didn't happen. It is about discovering that you are still whole, more whole even for having been broken. The gold filling your cracks is made of every hard conversation you had with yourself, every boundary you tried to hold and then you finally did hold it, every tear you allowed to fall, and every truth you finally spoke out loud. You are not a survivor in spite of what happened. You are a thriver because of who you chose to become in the aftermath. In today's episode, if it has stirred something within you, a longing, a readiness, a question you haven't been able to stop thinking about, I want you to know that you don't have to continue this journey alone. I'm now working one-on-one with survivors of emotional abuse, complex trauma, anxiety, stress, and I weave together somatic coaching, IFS parts work, EFT and Reiki and hypnotherapy, and the wisdom of positive psychology to support you and build a life that feels like yours, one slow step at a time. Whether you are just beginning to feel safe enough to dream or you're ready to move purposefully into your next chapter, there is space for you. And if you feel called, I invite you to reach out through the link in the show notes below. There's no obligation, no pressure, just a conversation held gently to explore whether working together might be right for you. You have done so much of this alone. You are allowed to ask for support on the rest of your journey, and I'll be happy to help and walk beside you when the time is right. If you enjoyed this, I do hope you will hit the like button and please leave a comment and subscribe if you have not yet already. All of this does help build this channel, and then we can reach more people who might be struggling, like yourself. Now, if you would like to stay for the guided meditation, I hope you will find a comfortable place. Let's begin by taking a nice deep breath in through your nose and slowly releasing out through your mouth. Making sure you're comfortable whether you're sitting or lying down. Let your hands gently rest in your lap, over your heart or your belly, or wherever is comfortable for you, and allow your eyes to gently close. One more breath in, and let everything soften in your body as you release, letting your jaw soften, your shoulders drop. Begin to feel the weight of your body, the places where you are supported by the chair, the floor, the earth itself. And allow that support to hold you completely. You don't have to hold yourself up right now because you are being held. I'd like you to imagine roots growing down from the base of your spine, going down through the floor, through layers of stone and soil, all the way down into the warm, dark heart of the earth. You are grounded. You are safe. Now, if it feels safe to do so, gently place both of your hands over your heart and take a moment to acknowledge silently or with a quiet whisper, if that feels okay, everything that you've survived. You were hurt. You lost things and maybe even people. You were changed. Just let your heart feel the weight of that. Not to collapse into it, but to honor it. To say, this was real. This mattered. And I'm still here. Now breathe in compassion for yourself and breathe out grief. Breathe in compassion and breathe out fear. Breathe in compassion And breathe out shame. Now in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine a path. It stretches out before you. There's soft light filtering through the trees. You can feel the warm ground beneath your feet. And this path is yours alone. No one can walk it for you. And at the end of this path, not too far away, just far enough to see clearly, there's a figure. It is you, but not the you of yesterday's fear. It is the you that is emerging, your growth self, the alchemized version of everything you have survived. Walk toward them slowly. Notice how they carry themselves. These different parts of you that are growing and evolving. Notice the ease in their shoulders, the calm in their eyes, and the quiet confidence in the way they stand. And as you go closer, they smile at you, not with pity, not with you finally arrived, but with recognition. They know exactly who you are. They have been waiting, not impatiently, but lovingly. They reach out and take your hands and they say to you, "You made it. Every step you took, even the ones that felt wrong, even the detours, even the days you barely moved, they all brought you here. You are not behind. You are exactly where your becoming needed you to be." Just let those words land in your body. Let your nervous system receive them. And then ask your growth self, what do you want me to know right now? And just listen. Notice whatever arises, a word, an image, a feeling, a knowing, and trust it. What do you want me to know right now? Now gently, in your relaxed state, begin tapping on the side of your hand. Even though part of me is still healing, I am also already growing. Repeating these words after me, even though the pain was real, something real is emerging from it. Even though I am not finished, I am also already becoming. Now relax your hands and take a deep breath in and out. Bringing your hands back to your heart if that feels comfortable and safe. And imagine a warm golden light, the color of late afternoon sun, just gathering in your palms. This is the energy of renewal, of life wanting to live more fully through you. Allow that golden light to pour into your heart center, filling every chamber, softening every wall. You can feel the warm, gentle smoothness of this light as it moves into your solar plexus, awakening your power and your purpose and your will to create a life that is yours. Let it fill your whole body until you're glowing from within, not performing light, but living it. Feel that beautiful sensation of love and safety and peace flowing through your body. And with your hands still on your heart, breathe in the universal energy of the year 1. Breathe in new identity, new beginnings, the courage to step forward as who you are becoming. Breathe in the grounding energy of the universal month 4, the stability, building the foundation, the solid earth beneath your new life. You are not starting over from nothing. You are starting over from everything you have learned. Now breathe in the medicine of Mercury retrograde in Pisces, allowing the cosmic invitation to go inward, to listen, to let what is ready to be seen finally surface. And breathe in the wisdom of your own Chiron, the wound that has been quietly and persistently becoming your gift. Now take a final deep breath in through your nose, holding, slowly releasing through your mouth, letting your whole body open as wide as it feels safe to do. And in that space, go ahead and set an intention for the week ahead. It can be as simple as one word, one image, one feeling. Breathe in again and exhale slowly, sealing that intention into your body. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take your time returning to the present moment. And when you're ready, just open your eyes slowly. You are not the same person who pressed play today. You never are. And that is the most beautiful thing about you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Remember, you are not broken. You are becoming. And I hope you'll join me next week, where I am beginning a new series called Soul Whispers, Coming Home to You. It is very similar to this series, and I hope you'll be able to join me there. Enjoy your week ahead. Lots of love and hugs. Till next time. Thank you for spending time at Survivor Sanctuary Series with Susan.